everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Dr. Paridhi Garg, an international dentist, currently a DDS student at University of Washington. I am doing this video to help you understand the interview process. First of all, if you've received an interview invite from any of the US dental schools, a big congratulations. This is the first big step towards your acceptance. But having an interview invite does not automatically mean that you will be accepted into the school. Now, this is an opportunity for the schools to determine the candidate on paper is that the actual candidate they would want in their program. So in this video, I am going to share how I would personally prepare for these interview invites and how to navigate the interview process. Firstly, you have to be very thorough with what you've written in your CV. You should be able to verify everything and talk about everything at length, whatever the interviewers choose to pick from your CV. Having said that, usually the interview questions are divided into 6 segments. First segment is questions about you. So they can ask you, tell me about yourself, about your family, about your journey in the US, or they can ask you about your strength, your weakness, questions like what keeps you motivated, how do you de-stress. So this is the usually the first segment of the interview. The second segment is about the school. So why that particular school? Why should this select you? How you will add a value to the program. The third segment is about your personality, things like your leadership. What would you do in a particular scenario? So they will give you a scenario which would warrant you to think quickly or think like a leader. The fourth segment is ethical scenarios, which are very commonly asked by the schools. So in that, they usually ask you, they give you a scenario like maybe what would you do if you have a conflict with the co-provider regarding a treatment plan for a patient? How would you navigate that situation? Or what would you do if you have if one of your the insurance fraud, how will you tackle that situation? The ethical scenarios are usually the fourth segment of the interview. The fifth segment would be CV based questions. So they're going to ask you, they're going to pick up some experience from your CV, some volunteering or some publication or research which you've mentioned, and they're going to ask you to talk about that. The sixth segment is usually the clinical aspect of the interview, which a lot of schools are focusing on now, unlike previous years. So the questions like x-rays, they'll show you an x-ray and ask you to diagnose it or ask you to identify what kind of x-ray is it, whether it's a bite wing, right side, left side, or they can give you a panoramic image and ask you to identify any pathology. So they're not really asking you to give a diagnosis through this, but you should be able to identify that there's something wrong with the x-ray or with that particular tooth, and how will you go about doing further clinical testing and asking the right questions to the patient to determine and come to the right diagnosis. So, and you can always say that I will have to corroborate the findings with the history as well as my clinical findings. So I cannot determine a definitive diagnosis by seeing the images in the x-ray. So they are trying to determine how you will tackle the clinical situations. They might also give you an instrument or material to identify and to talk about its indications or some properties. Like for example, if they give you GIC, they ask you what are the indications for GIC, what are the most important properties of glass ionomer cement, so which is fluoride release. So you will talk about where you would apply GIC, like in high caries patients, or if there's a lot of root caries in the patient, you would want to use GIC over composite in those situations because you want to take advantage of fluoride release. So questions as basic as this. They might ask you about pulpal and periapical diagnosis. So some schools like to focus on these kind of questions. Now, having said that, all schools don't focus on all the 6 segments equally. Some schools might focus on the first and the sixth segment. Some school might focus on the first and the fourth segment. So it differentiates between school to school. So for you guys, I would recommend that you touch base on all kinds of questions and know how to answer every question, so that you're not left thinking during the interview. Most of these interviews are 15-20 minutes, or some interviews can go up to 40 minutes, but you will not get a lot of time to think if you completely go clueless interviews. So, and you need to understand this is a very competitive environment. It's all subjective how other person is performing in comparison to you. I always recommend candidates to record themselves and hear the recording so that they understand how it's coming across to someone who's listening to their answers. A lot of times you might think that you answered it well, but when you listen to it, you realize that you were repeating information, and also a lot of times you are stammering a lot and taking a lot of time to think, so which is completely okay. They're not expecting your answers to be perfect, but the content of it should make sense and should be according to the question which was asked. And another thing which I've seen candidates often make mistakes in is sometimes there is a follow up question, like something like, what is your biggest strength and how do you think that it will help you in the program? So they miss out on the second part of the question and they just answer the first part. So schools are noticing all these things, that how good you are in following instructions or how teachable you are. They are trying to actually determine whether they would want someone like you in their program, and also treating the patients who are coming to the school. They are trying to determine what kind of provider you are going to be if they accept you in their school. So you have to come across as someone who's authentic, who's not struggling with their normal thought process, even if communication might be a little different for you, because I know that the lot of people don't have such fluent English because they might be from a country where your first language was not English. They completely understand that and they will give you a benefit of doubt, but you should have clarity of thought. Your thought process should be clear as to how you want to move ahead with the patient or with a clinical situation or in a particular scenario, how you will be towards your colleagues and towards your faculty. Those are the kind of qualities they're trying to determine from your interviews, because a lot of schools have started to interview before they invite people for the bench exam. That is just to remove those candidates who they don't think that they would want in their program. So this is basically a differentiation which you can create between you and the other candidates who are interviewing. This is your opportunity to do that. So please prepare for these interviews mindfully. And I always say that you just need one acceptance. You do not need to interview with 10 schools to feel accomplished. And please start preparing for your bench exams. If you have a bench exam coming after the interview, please don't wait. Bench exams are again deal breakers. A lot of schools have 70% of emphasis on bench and 30 on your profile and your interview. So bench exam can clearly make you stand out as a candidate if you have good bench skills. So start preparing early. All those who are still waiting for interview invites, still a lot of schools are left. You should not lose hope at this point, but you should start also preparing at the same time for the next cycle. So that is a practical advice. I know that a lot of effort and time goes into preparing for these applications, but you have to think ahead. You have to think of the worst case scenario just in case you are not invited for an interview or a bench this cycle. You should not be wasting this time, and not shouldn't start preparing for the next cycle only in December. Do see courses, participate in research if you can. Start doing these things so that you are at least building up your profile for the next cycle. And also Colorado opens in October. So Colorado, you can definitely leverage these things in your Colorado application. So I would really recommend you guys to start working on your profile alongside waiting for the interview invites and the bench invites. Good luck to everyone for their applications and ongoing journey. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.